What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? We made it, guys. We're here. The first deep dive for college football 26, the gameplay deep dive here. We've made it. June 20th. Here, going to cover it live just like I did last year for all the deep dives. Going to check out the trailer, and then we'll get into the deep dive blog, talk about all of it, share my thoughts on all the features we're reading throughout, and want to hear some of your all's thoughts as well. Those of you that are here live, chime in with those in the chat there. Any questions, comments you got there. If you're watching after the fact, you can leave those in the comment section. Still try and respond there. Appreciate you watching, whether you're watching live or on the playback. Take a second, help me out, hit that thumbs up button. That helps us with that YouTube algorithm, helps us find college football video game fans like yourself. And if you are one of those and you haven't yet, be sure to hit that subscribe button. I'll be covering all the deep dive news in the lead up to this game's release. And of course, I'll give you gameplay content once it comes out, game tips, dynasty series, all kinds of fun stuff there we've got planned for college football 26. So be sure to hit the subscribe button here on JC CFB, and we're getting ready to get into it. But I won't keep you guys waiting too long. We're going to take a look at the trailer. Probably just play it through once and maybe, go back through with a little breakdown, hit on some things I like. But what we're really focused on, of course, my favorite part of these is the Campus Huddle blog, and this one's a lengthy one, so this will be a lengthy stream, as these tend to be here when we hit these deep dives, because they do such a great job, giving us in-depth details here in these Campus Huddle blogs, so can't wait to dive into that thing. Full disclosure, it's all, instant reaction to me. I have watched the trailer once, but I haven't even opened the deep dive blog yet because, like I said, I was stuck at work. So excited to dive into that thing and just kind of instantly react to it, share my thoughts, and get some of your all's thoughts here as well. So let's get ready. Let's get into it. Let's lead it off with the trailer here. The gameplay deep dive trailer, I should say.
Welcome to the EA Sports College Football 26 Gameplay Deep Dive. We'll share details about a massive playbook expansion, all new player types and abilities, improvements to wear and tear, new control mechanics, stadium pulse, physics-based tackling, and a lot more. Let's get into it. With real coaches comes a massive playbook expansion. For the first time ever, over 300 real college football coaches bring their unique styles and authentic play calling to the game, delivering distinct program identities and more play calling variety. Over 2,800 new plays and over 45 new formations have been installed. New option types, motion types, bizarre plays and formations from last season are at your fingertips, and they're all tuned so you can craft a strategy that feels like your favorite program. 10 brand new player archetypes and rebalanced abilities, now 84 total, are designed to showcase the wide variety of skill sets we see in college football every Saturday. Improvements to how abilities scale are based on performance. When a player gets hot, their physicals receive a substantial boost, and platinum tier abilities will automatically upgrade to the new, more powerful Heisman tier. The Heisman tier captures those unexplainable moments when a player single-handedly takes over a game. New field vision introduces more realistic challenges for quarterbacks. Shorter quarterbacks will now have more limited vision when surrounded by taller linemen, and receiver icons will fade as they come in and out of view. To ensure balance around how different abilities affected wear and tear during hits and tackles, every ability in the game was reviewed and adjusted. New customizable auto-sub options let you tailor personnel decisions to strategically handle wear and tear for every position. Take complete control with adjustable impact settings and battle real-world conditions with new weather modifiers that impact wear and tear. And you'll get instant feedback with new pre-snap visual cues that can affect a player's demeanor, indicating their condition right on the field. Updates to physics-based tackling make better tackles actually feel better. New tackle types like wrap catch tackles and lunges and new timing-based skill mechanics offer more tools to disrupt and dictate the game. With new authentic audio for big hits that adds realism and variety to defense. New dynamic subs allow real-time roster management without breaking from the action. enhancing the flow and strategy of every game. Make informed personnel decisions and get your starters back out there with one button press. A rebuild of offensive and defensive line interactions redefines trench battles. Control the direction of your blocks with new block steering, which factors in player attributes like strength and momentum for more realistic line of scrimmage play. And the addition of stunts and twists delivers more depth and control in pass rush. 12 different types of stunts offer a range of strategic options before the snap, providing a new layer to the chess match at the line of scrimmage. We're introducing adjustable defensive zones for more precise control over pass coverage. Adjust the depth of where your safeties line up in coaching adjustments. Fine-tune your defensive strategies in real time and outsmart opponents. When you're on the home field advantage side of Stadium Pulse, it's a beautiful thing. But for visitors, Stadium Pulse in College Football 26 is louder, tougher, and more personal, elevating the chaos of night games at already tough-to-play places. More intense camera shake, new visual disruptions, and distorted clocks will throw off your timing and communication with dynamic intensity depending on the game situation or career moment. Pre-order the MVP bundle. Includes both EA Sports.
So there it is. I know I talked over a little bit. I tried to let it play through as much as I could, but I can't help myself. So, but I do want to come back and hit on some things before we get into the blog, which we're going to dive all in, get all up inside that Campus Huddle blog. But a couple things I want to hit on. Of course, you guys know I'm hype about the plays, but this here, because so let me let that play through till they get right here where they're talking about it. If you guys remember in my abilities video, we kind of had it put out on social media that Scott O'Gallagher had said there was a new Heisman tier. And then when I heard there was dynamic abilities, I predicted in my abilities video that the Heisman tier was probably just something that you get in game so that even if you have platinum and you get hot, you can still have, that dynamic ability upgrade. And that's exactly what it is. It was revealed. The trailer today said, hey, shout out to it. We actually called something on that one, at least in that abilities video, predicted something right. So that's good. But I like the way that functions. The Heisman tier isn't something you can get to. Platinum's still the highest. But if you have platinum, you can still make use of dynamic abilities because if you get hot, then you can get upgraded to a Heisman tier in game. As we know, if a player gets hot, their tier level kind of upgrades to, one of their abilities to go up to another tier. So, sometimes if you're gold, you can maybe have platinum for a drive or two. And, same here, if you're platinum, you can maybe have Heisman for a drive or something like that. So I wanted to hit on that. Is there anything else? I think most of this we'll hit on in the blog here. This is the other thing, which we had talked about this in the channel in the past as well. We had shared kind of the leaked or talked about the leaked images from this, and I kind of read off some of the settings for you guys. You guys know I didn't want to share any of the screenshots or videos that leaked from the beta. As my dog probably barks in the background if the mic's picking that up. I think my wife just got home. But there's so much you can customize in this game. Look at all the wear and tear sliders that you have for each position group. You have the wear and tear strategy for your offensive line, the sub strategy, where you can have it on default. This looks like it's set to override. So maybe, you can set it to a custom because this is your strategy here. And you can set it to, how when you sub them out, when you sub them in, and that's for each position group, which is pretty sweet. Let's see. And then there's the other one, which is the other one that I read off to you guys, where it's like all the impacts. And there's even more settings. Like Dynasty is going to be so customizable with all of this stuff here. Look, normal tackle impact, catch tackle impact, hit stick impact, cut stick, sack impact, and it goes on for a ton more. And then, of course, all the wear and tear sliders. So it's going to be interesting, all the adjustments you can make. That's why, time and time again, I said this is, I think, going to be the most customizable college football game ever. And I think we'll learn even more about it in the Dynasty Deep Dive, which is coming next week. That's something else I wanted to hit. Presentation, Campus Huddle blog, coming out on the 23rd. And then on the 24th, it's the Dynasty Deep Dive video and Campus Huddle blog. So we'll be live at some point on the 23rd and 24th as well to cover those. And I'm also excited about this physics-based tackling, as long as it works, properly and better than last year did, because we all know that was one of the weak points of last year's game was defense in general, tough to tackle and extremely bad angles players would take. Just from the looks of things here, it looks like definitely better angles. And one thing I love that you heard, when we played it through, is they've added, sound effects to the hits, especially like when you get the hit sticks and stuff. So that's going to be awesome to hear as well. That's a nice touch. So that's the trailer, but I want to get into the deep dive blog, the Campus Huddle blog here, where we're going to learn a ton more about this game. I see some people in here live now. What's going on? Hornets fan, James Weekly. Good to see you guys. Hornets fan 2011 says, what do I think about the score bug? Personally, improvement big time from, 25, in my opinion. I really like this score bug. They shared some pictures today going around. It actually changes color. The middle portion of it where it highlights whatever quarter it is, changes color to, depending on the home team's, primary colors, what color the middle of the score bug will be, which I think is pretty cool. A little minute detail that's cool about it. I put out that video about it, yesterday because I figured it would be a good talking point. People seem to like talking about the score bug. The video last year performed well on it. The video this year performed well on it. I liked it last year. I like it even better this year. Clean, sleek. I love what they did with the scoreboard. Timeouts look better on it as well. What's going on, James Weekly? Good to see you in here as well. Hey, my guy Mario hopping in. What's up, Mario? Good to see you, bro. What's going on? About to get ready to get up all inside this blog now, the Campus Huddle blog, and we're really going to learn a lot of gameplay details, guys. So as we read through this, you guys got any thoughts about it? Throw them in the chat. Any questions? I'll come back and catch up with you guys in the chat at some point here. I'm sure we'll need a break throughout this lengthy blog, but I'm ready to get into it and learn a lot about this gameplay. So let's talk about the gameplay features here in College Football 26 by diving into the Campus Huddle blog. Okay. Welcome back to the Campus Huddle. Yes, we know. Okay. There's the trailer, of course, we just watched. I guess I could have just pulled it up there. I forgot they would have it there in the blog, but nonetheless, now let's dive further into gameplay by bringing in designer director Scott O'Gallagher. Take it away, Scott. Hey, OG, man. He's a real one. He's awesome, man. I love Scott O'Gallagher. I think he's one reason this game was great last year. Going to continue to be great. I know people that play Madden are excited that he's working on that game now. He worked on 2K back in its heyday. I really like Scott O'Gallagher, and he's pretty interactive on social media as well. He'll answer questions and stuff about the game and debunk things and let you know what's true, what's not. And so glad to hear him come on with this blog here on gameplay. As he says, what's up, football fans? Good to see you again. I'm Scott O'Gallagher, design director for College Football 26. Last year, College Football 25 brought the game back, and your response was nothing short of incredible. We watched your streams, saw the viral moments, and read through threads and feedback across every corner of the internet. But that was last year. In this game, no W from the past carries over. The moment the final whistle blew, we got right back in the film room. We broke down what worked, listened to what didn't, and locked in what needed to improve. Ready for the next chapter? Let's dive in. But, as he mentions that, before we scroll down and get into these features, let's take a moment, give 25 its flowers. Little golf clap for College Football 25, one of the best-selling sports games of all time. The highest-selling game last year, or second highest-selling game last year overall. Phenomenal. Blew away expectations, even my own expectations, and I think a lot of people. So, hopefully we can do it again with College Football 26 and really keep this thing cranked up, because the more that they continue to see the response there, the more they'll continue to improve the game like they have this year. Like he says, they listen to us, so let's learn what all they threw in here for 26. Pre-game's where we're starting here. This year, the gameplay motto is what we call the 4-minute offense. Why? Because after putting points on the board last year, we wanted to come right back out, take control, and march down the field again and put the game away. So, they had a great game last year with 25. Now they're trying to really, blow people away with 26 and then send it into the stratosphere. He said that means staying true to the foundational vision, continuing to solve football problems with football solutions, and executing on what matters most. Similar to last year, the gameplay is built around 3 pillars that keep the drive alive. Here's the pillars of this year's game. All 22 plus, continued emphasis on player control and player differentiation. That's different players. Damn, they got me all messed up with that one. With the plus speaking about everything that surrounds those 4 lines. Play your way. More customization and tools for players to make them feel like their favorite signal callers while building on team differentiation. I think I got it that time. And offering 136 plus ways to play. And then Stories of Saturday, we're adding additional, more soul and personality between the whistle, building on the emotional foundation of 25 to make every moment feel like a memory in the making. Get them out. Dynamic subs, no more pausing, just playing, which we've talked a bit about this one in the past. Pretty cool. Kind of similar to 2K and some other games where you can do that. But he says for as long as football games have existed, making substitutions meant pausing the game, diving into menus, and breaking the flow of the action. With addition of wear and tear and confidence and composure, you told us you wanted more options when it came to moving players around. We listened. Introducing dynamic subs, a new feature that brings real-time roster management directly onto the field. Now, strategic substitutions can happen seamlessly without ever leaving the action. And we get a picture here with BYU, who might be having a sub Jake Redslav out this season. But the dynamic subs menu, let's take a look there. You see the status there of the players. So, their wear and tear status. Got 3 guys in the green here. You got a guy that's orange and a guy that's red. The guy that's red, you can see where, the main injury is there. Right foot for him, left leg for the slot receiver. But, you can scroll down to any one of these positions on offense, and you can sub somebody else in by using the D-pad there, which is pretty sweet. And I like everything you can see here on this screen. It's not just, being able to have the guy's name and be able to sub. You got the wear and tear status, the overall, a lot of stuff. And then even, you can push X or A, depending on what console you're on, to reset to starters. Maybe you make substitutions and then you change your mind and you run out of time on the play clock. Hit X real quick, go back to your starters, hit B, no subs are made, roll on. Sub control. It couldn't be easier. During pre-play, simply press up on the D-pad to instantly access who is on the field. Cycle players in and out by tapping left or right on the D-pad. Just like traditional depth chart subs, once you make a change, it sticks, ensuring your lineup decisions remain strategic, deliberate, and impactful. Whether you're matching personnel against specific formations or responding to player fatigue, this feature keeps you locked into the rhythm and flow of the game. Smarter subbing with tailored filters. To streamline substitutions even further, we've introduced targeted filters that get the right players on the field quicker. So defense, manage your entire defense at once or quickly jump to specific groups like your linebackers or D-line. Offense, cycle between your full offense, skill players, or offensive line, ensuring you make exactly the right sub at exactly the right time. Oh, that's sweet. So, the menu, when we saw it here pulled up, it's the offense, right? But you can hit RB and you can go to your skill players. So you can have your quarterbacks, your running backs, your receivers, and then go to O-line and go directly to, so if you know exactly what you want to do you can get there even quicker. That's cool. And same goes for the defense, where you can have linebackers, D-line, or I'm guessing secondary, of course. And we talked about reset to starters there. Real-time health insights. Subbing isn't just about fresh legs, it's about knowing exactly who's ready to go and who needs a break. With on-the-fly subs interface, you'll now clearly see. So wear and tear indicators, which is the PIP indicators that show the most impacted body parts tied directly to the wear and tear system. You'll now easily see which body part is banged up and how bad. And then overall ratings instantly assess each player's current effectiveness, helping you make the smartest personnel decisions on the fly. So they've added that this year, so that'll make it a little bit easier, when we're moving forward. And then ask the question that people might be asking with that. Why wasn't this here the whole time? Internally, the reaction on the fly subs has been awesome. And once you experience it yourself, you'll wonder how you ever played without it. It's one of those intuitive and seamless features that immediately become essential. Feels like football, plays like football, and it's about time it arrived. Now we're into a little bit more about that wear and tear here. I think here's where they'll probably talk about the sliders, where we now have more control than ever over how we want to manage our players, manage our substitutions, manage our offense, our team, and dynasty. That's why I'm saying this game's super customizable, guys. So let's talk a little bit about wear and tear. More depth, more control. Thrilled by your response to wear and tear system last year? Introducing a completely new physics-based damage mechanic is always a bit nerve-wracking, but the enthusiasm showed they hit the mark. Wear and tear was never meant to be another injury system. It was designed as a gameplay balancing mechanic, bringing real strategic depth and meaningful roster decisions. So you have to use, your roster there. The foundation was set. Now we continue to build upon it. Clean up on aisle 26. Before expanding on the system, our first priority was to address some of the tough to reproduce bugs while continuing to improve the balance. They went after complicated issues like players awkwardly stacking on each other without the play ending properly. That was a major fix, which, we saw that happen a lot last year, right? Like you'd be in the end zone, still get tackled, be out of bounds, still get tackled, no flag, after the play, guys diving on each other, falling on each other. Then they carefully reviewed and adjusted every ability in the game, ensuring accurate balancing around how each ability impacts wear and tear during hits and tackles. You can now sub your way, which is another key improvement. It's something the community asked for, making it easier and more strategic to manage players based on wear and tear. They saw different coaching philosophies and how you played. Some of you kept your stars in the field no matter what, pain be damned. Others rotate constantly, prioritizing freshness and long-term durability. Both approaches are valid, and now the system fully supports how you want to coach, which I'll be utilizing dynamic subs, I know for sure, because sometimes you guys know I'm a run-heavy guy. I'd be giving my guy 20-plus carries. he'd be injured, and then to close it out, I bring in the fresh legs, but I have to pause, go to depth chart. Now I can utilize dynamic subs to do that, which will be sweet. To accommodate these diverse styles, we've introduced fully customizable wear and tear auto sub settings and sliders, bringing unprecedented depth to player management. Here's how the options go. Default, which is standard CPU substitution logic. So this is where we were talking about in those wear and tear sliders where you can set the strategy and set it for each position group. This is those strategy options. Default is 1, which is just kind of your stock one. Then you can have keep fresh, which is inspired by real world rotation strategies like Michigan's frequent running back substitutions. So keep fresh, you're going to have a higher rate of guys getting subbed out, probably once they have any wear and tear damage come off of them, boom, quick rotation, and, keep guys fresh, keep guys, healthy, keep guys stamina up. So they're going to be rotating more if you use that setting. And then grind it out for teams that want to keep their best players on the field as long as possible. Players push through being banged up and only sub out when absolutely necessary. So 3 settings you can utilize there where it's automatically set on the wear and tear strategy within each position group. Or, of course, if you want to, go custom and players sub based on the lowest health of specific body parts, giving your precise control, which you control by the slider setting we saw in the trailer there earlier, and we paused on that when we broke it down. Each position now has tailor substitution strategies based on wear and tear, accessible directly from the main menu or coaching adjustment menu. You have full control over when a player subs in or out, ensuring every decision is aligned with your game plan. And I love how they did it based on position groups, right? Because, if you just did this based on like offense and had a strategy for your entire offense, strategy for your entire defense, it wouldn't really work properly. You have to do a position group based because my offensive line, I'm going to not hardly sub them out, right? Because they're going to be guys that, are kind of grinders. So, I'll probably put them on, the grinded out feature, or maybe custom adjust it myself to where it's hardly ever subbed out there. And then, skill positions will be a little bit different. So I'm glad that they did that position group base, and same goes for your defense. Pain is temporary. Dynasties are forever. Dynasty players were some of the most passionate fans of the wear and tear system and recognize it's impossible to satisfy everyone's preferences with one-size-fits-all tuning. So why not put the controls directly in your hands, which I think is a brilliant strategy and a brilliant way they've attacked that this year, which, of course, you could take even to the extreme if you don't like wear and tear and toggle that thing off and not have it. But now, if you're someone that uses wear and tear, you can customize your offline dynasty for how you want to play it individually. Commissioners for online dynasties can customize it how they see fit, or you can have, kind of a majority rules thing. Everyone vote on these sliders. How do we want to do these for our, hit stick impacts, for our wear and tear sliders? It's so awesome, all the customization involved. This year, they've introduced complete customization of wear and tear experience. Want increased damage from hit sticks or sacks? Prefer faster healing between quarters or during timeouts? Every aspect is now in your hand. And here is some of those sliders that we talked on earlier. I think we hit all the way down to sack impact, but some of the others, of course, even on offense, block impact, block impact. And then recovery rates. What's the per play recovery rate per timeout? Between quarters, halftime, in-game healing reserve pool. All kinds of customization you're going to have there in sliders when it comes to wear and tear. Weather the storm, win the game. Through conversations with real-world coaches and players, one recurring theme emerged clearly. Weather significantly impacts wear and tear. Reflecting this real-world insight, we've integrated weather-based modifiers into the wear and tear system. That's sweet. And I don't think that it's going to look, I know a lot of people saw it in the trailer and was like, hey, man, that doesn't look like Madden. But I think when they first mentioned Madden's weather, that they said that'll be something that comes to college football 27 is how it looks visually on Madden. Much like, wear and tear was on college football 25, then came to Madden on Madden 26. But weather has still improved here on college football 26 with how it affects you gameplay wise. And that's what they're getting into a little bit here, with a little bit more of diversity in the way that it will affect your game, which I think you can probably even toggle it on or off to if you want it to affect you or if you just want it to be a visual thing. So visualizing the damage. If your quarterback's health dips below 60%, you'll clearly see it reflected in his pre-snap demeanor. Depending on whether he's dealing with upper or lower body damage, he might roll his shoulder, shake out his arm, or gingerly kick out a sore leg as he approaches the line of scrimmage. And we saw that in the trailer, the quarterback grabbing the back of his leg there, his hamstring. The subtle but impactful touch provides an immediate visual cue to the quarterback's condition, making wear and tear feel a bit more live and connected to your in-game decisions more than on the play before. And it's more than just a rating. Last year, your toughness rating determined how much damage a player took to a specific body part after contact. This year, they've taken that a step further. Now, toughness also affects recovery, dictating how quickly each body part heals over time. So if you play at a lower toughness rating last year, it would, of course, affect that body part with wear and tear. Now, not only does it affect the body part, it affects the recovery time as well. That means the same rating that helps a player absorb hits also plays a direct role in how fast they bounce back. It's a deeper, more realistic reflection of what toughness truly means in college football. And then the Heisman tier here, which we hit on this a little bit there in the trailer because I did predict this one a little bit in the abilities video, but here it is explained to us by OG himself, taking elite talent to the next level. Last year's introduction of abilities laid a strong foundation for capturing the explosive, dynamic essence of college football. This year, we're building on that foundation, rebalancing existing abilities, introducing new ones, significantly expanding player archetypes, and delivering authentic moments that reflect the true drama of Saturdays. Expanded archetypes, and we get another image here. Love when they drop images in here because then these are always good to use for thumbnails and stuff moving forward. But here we got Reuben Owens highlighted here on this Texas A&M roster, and we see his archetype there of, the ability with the 360 there. We see the archetype East-West playmaker, and we went over these in the past on the channel as well. Did a video on the archetypes, did a video on the abilities, as someone had shared those in notes following the beta. Like I said, of course, couldn't share screenshots then, but now we start to see confirmation of those archetypes here, with East-West playmaker being one of those that we talked about there. So all new archetypes, even at every position. Of course, positions have changed as well. I'm sure they'll get into that a little bit here. So we're going to hit on these archetypes. Archetypes have been expanded in College Football 26 with 10 brand new additions, each crafted to reflect the unique and electrifying skill sets seen every Saturday. These archetypes are intentionally diverse. No two share the same ability loadouts. You hear more about them in the upcoming Campus Huddle Dynasty Deep Dive, which coming June 24th. And you guys know that's the one I'm hyped for. It's my favorite game mode there is Dynasty mode. The out-of-body experience. One of our core objectives this year was capturing what we call the out-of-body experience. Those jaw-dropping moments when an elite player single-handedly changes the course of a game. To achieve this, we've completely redefined how abilities scale when a player gets hot. Momentum matters more than ever. So we're going to get into dynamic abilities a little bit here now and into that Heisman tier, which you can upgrade a platinum tier ability to a Heisman tier in game if a player gets hot. And these are not full game, but they're, drive based, play based. I'm sure they're going to get into some of this here. And it says Heisman tier, taking elite talent to the next level, the out of body player experience, which to me, when they're talking about that out of body experience, it's kind of that Heisman moment that we talk about. You remember back in, NCAA football 06, and you'd have players get in the zone. They had the white circle underneath. And when they got hot, they, break a tackle and the camera would like cut scene, zoom in on them when they did that. I would love to see that come back here on the Heisman tier. That'd be something sweet if they did that as well, because that was always cool. It was like a cut scene while you were in the game. It was pretty crazy. So let's get into what they're talking a little bit about here. When a player starts to cook, their physical abilities receive substantial boosts. If the player already holds a platinum tier ability, it automatically upgrades to the new Heisman tier, featuring enhanced effects and powerful new functionality directly inspired by player feedback. You'll know exactly when it happens. A green flash around the player's icon signals a tier up. And if you know what tier your guy's ability is, you'll know what level is up next. And if you're maxed out at platinum, you just got a Heisman tier for however long. Conversely, if a player's performance drops, you'll see a red downward arrow indicating they've dropped a tier. So this works both ways, though, guys, right? Like you have a platinum tier in game, but your guy's getting absolutely shut down. He's thrown, 3 interceptions. One of his abilities there, his passing abilities, is probably going to drop from platinum to gold, or who knows, to silver maybe even. New offensive and defensive abilities. They're going to hit on some of these here. Battering ram, which some of these I've talked about in the past on the channel. I think 6 of them is ones that I knew of, and I think they said there's 10, so there's 4 more here. Which battering ram is inspired by legendary contact-seeking backs. The battering ram ability is a brand new addition exclusive to the contact-seeking archetype. So you have to have a contact-seeking archetype here to be able to get the battering ram ability. As it tiers up, Ball carriers inflict increasing levels of wear and tear on defenders, provided they finish runs falling forward. At the Heisman tier, it delivers maximum punishment, making defenders pay for every collision. I'm guessing this means you'll be able to inflict wear and tear damage on the defenders pretty significantly if you have, platinum, battering ram, and, even if it gets upgraded to Heisman tier in game, that's going to be even worse. Then hammer, where they've revamped the hammer ability specifically for thumping linebackers and box specialist safeties. 2 new archetypes there. Linebacker, we have thumper now, we have lurker now, and thumping linebackers can get the hammer ability. And then box specialist safeties, which will be great for guys that you want to play as nickels or as, sub linebackers there. Box specialist safeties can get the hammer ability as well, which is inspired by iconic hard hitters like Ray Lewis at Miami. Each tier of the hammer ability now directly ties into the physics-based tackling mechanic, rewarding timing and skill. Reach the Heisman tier and you'll gain an increased chance of forcing fumbles on perfectly executed hit sticks, creating opportunities for game-defining plays. And then the cost of greatness, abilities, and wear and tear integration, which this is what I kind of touched on there a second ago with the battering ram ability, how, now if you have a guy that's a big back that has that type of ability, you'll be able to deliver wear and tear damage to your opponent, and the abilities kind of more tied into wear and tear here, which he's going to touch on. He says this year they've deepened the strategic connection between the ability system and the wear and tear mechanic. Every physical ability now categorizes into either upper or lower body. As a player's wear and tear accumulates through the season, they can lose up to 2 tiers on the corresponding ability. So not only are abilities dynamic in game, they're dynamic through your seasons in Dynasty, which we know there's now a season health meter, a career health meter. So all this tying directly into it, which just yet again is another thing that's going to have to make you be more strategic with your roster in this game, which I love. While significant drops are rare, this introduces a crucial layer of strategic roster management, challenging coaches to balance aggressive play and player preservation. Collectively, these improvements transform the ability system in College Football 26 into a deeper, more strategic, and thrilling gameplay experience, one that captures the unique skills, emotions, and drama that define elite collegiate athletics. And then we're up to 136 ways of Saturday, which is where we're going to get into one of my favorite things, the playbooks, the new plays, the new motions, all of that. So touch on that momentarily. I got to take a swig of my coffee here, wet my whistle a little bit, and I'll catch up on some comments here if we've gotten any more here while I've gone through this. If any of you guys are in here live checking this out, be sure, you got any questions, comments, throw them in the chat there. I'll try and touch up on those at least one more time here before we wrap up. And if you're watching, whether live or on a playback, take a second, hit the thumbs up button, help this video find more college football video game fans like yourself. And if you're one of those that hasn't already, be sure to subscribe here to the channel. Keep you up to date on all these deep dives, all the College Football 26 news, and I'll bring you gameplay content once it comes out as well. So if you're a fan of the game, be sure you're subscribed here. If you didn't get a chance to watch live, throw your thoughts in the comment section. Appreciate those as well, and I'll try and respond there in due time. Take a swig of my coffee, and we'll catch up on a couple of comments and dive back into this lengthy blog, which is giving us some really great info. What the fuck's info? Info here, and it's about to get into one of my favorite things here, the new plays and playbooks that have been added here for 26. All right. Hey, we got a new sub. Golf clap for my guy, Jared. Appreciate you, Jared, subbing to the channel. Appreciate you commenting here. My guy, Hornets fan 2011 as well. Appreciate that, man. Appreciate that a lot. And, also here on the channel, I'm going to go ahead and tease this here. I talked about it in another live stream. I'm going to talk about it in a pre-recorded video at some point if I remember to do so. But channel memberships are going to be starting up really soon in the near future. I think it's going to be about $4.99 a month. And with that, I'm going to be doing a weekly college football recap show, recapping the real college football season, just where we kind of have fun, hang out, and chat about it in members-only live streams like this one. I'm going to be doing mini schemes, something that was requested last year I didn't get a chance to do. This year I'm going to do. I'm still going to put out gameplay tips videos on the main channel here. If you're not a channel member, you can still get those. But exclusive to members, I'm going to be doing like mini schemes, kind of ways that I run my offense, plays that I use to set up other plays. All of that will be exclusive to members. And then I've got some other fun stuff planned there as well that I'm going to do there, including, custom emojis, early access videos, behind the scenes videos, maybe let you guys get in, watch me live as I record some of the videos, stuff like that. So that'll be starting up in the near future soon. That's kind of a tease for that, which hoping to do that at some point on the weekend, get that started up, and you can join as a channel member here to JCCFB in the near future. And that'll just be one way to help me keep this channel going. and then also a way to give you guys some extra content for you guys that can't get enough college football video game content and some member exclusive stuff there. Give you some behind the scenes stuff and some really fun additions there as well. But with that bit of housekeeping out of the way, I think I'm all caught up here in the chat for now. So let's dive back into the blog here because we're getting into some playbook chat. I'm take a swig of my water and then we will talk about it. 136 ways of Saturday. All right. So 2,800 new plays, over 2,800 new plays, I should say, and over 45 new formations, which excites the hell out of me. You guys know I'm always into the custom playbook thing. Then I always like to try and highlight some of my favorite plays that I've put into my custom playbook and have helped me on the game. Did that this year. If you haven't checked that out, you can check that out on the channel, College Football 25 Gameplay Tips playlist. And within that, of course, there are some of my favorite pass plays, some of my favorite RPOs, some of my favorite run plays. And I'm going to have a lot of fun making a playbook. I'll probably spend like the whole first day I have the game doing just that. And then, of course, after that, it'll be tweaking it, narrowing it down. Kind of start off with a bigger playbook and then narrow it down as I see what plays I like, what plays I don't like as I go throughout the season there in my dynasties and online dynasties. But let's get right to it. College Football 26 is delivering the single biggest playbook expansion in EA Sports history. Let's go, man. That's just that sentence alone. If they would have just put that sentence out and nothing else and said, hey, would you pre-order the game? Sign me up, man. Don't give a shit. You gave me that, I'm in. That would have got me in right there, hook, line, and sinker. But over 2,800 new plays and over 45 new formations, all tuned to reflect the chaos, creativity, and pageantry that defines Saturday football. Whether you're a fan of tempo and space or ground and pound, there's something in here that speaks directly to the heart of college football. And with the arrival of 300 real head coaches for the first time in the series, we knew this year had to be more than just a content drop. It had to be a true evolution. So we got to work, studying game tape, talking to coaches, attending clinics, and above all, listening to the fans. The result? A massive leap forward in authenticity, depth, and team identity. Because when we say every team is someone's favorite team, we mean it, and this year they play like it. More plays, more identity, more you. Playbooks are bigger and deeper than ever. We've increased total capacity by over a third. Most offenses now feature 25 plus formations and over 400 plays, giving you more tools to scheme, adapt, and dominate. Whether you're building around tempo, power, or versatility, there's now a wider foundation to craft a game plan that actually feels like your favorite team. And greater playbook individuality. And this is where, of course, they're going to highlight Penn State's playbook, which I've already heard from people that played the beta, from others, that it's pretty awesome. And I think that's, probably because when you watch Andy Kotelnicki and his scheme, if you know anything about his offense, he always is scheming up some things that like no one's ever seen before to just catch the defense off guard, get them an easy touchdown. You just never know what he's going to bring to the table. And the fact that they've studied that and brought a lot of that into the game with some of those formations, we've seen it highlighted even in the play that they released here. I highlighted this in the video I put on the channel yesterday, of course, as they tease the deep dive, and you're going to have some of that in the game, and you're going to have a lot of different stuff, and they're going to hit on it right here talking about some of that. And personally, I'm excited to see Rich Rod back at West Virginia and see what his offense looks like on the game now that he's actually on the game and they've expanded the playbooks and all that stuff. I can't wait. I'm going to do that's the first Dynasty series I'm doing on the channel is a West Virginia Dynasty series as Rich Rod, using the West Virginia playbook, no custom playbook, playing as Rich Rod. That's what I'm doing. A little tease for that as well. But once you hop into the game, you'll immediately notice the difference between Air Force's flexbone DNA and USC's spread out vertical attack. These aren't just roster-based differences. They're true philosophical fingerprints. After months of deep dives and expert insight, every single one of our 136 playbooks was handcrafted to reflect real-life play calling and personnel packages. From Miami's modern air raid to Iowa State's power spread, every team has a unique feel, and every user has a real jumping off point to build or customize their identity. Fresh concepts, real wrinkles. Misdirection is king in today's college game. And we've brought that energy to life with new plays like jet power read. Love that because, last year they didn't have it to where you could make the read. They had a power fake jet, but now you can make the read. You can hand off on the jet sweep or you can keep it with the QB. Was missing that play. It was back on its table. 14 was one of my favorite plays, was missing that. And power read toss. Last year, they had the play where you had the fake jet sweep motion and they would toss it to the running back. And then when it looked like it, man, the way that the toss was so slow, I was like, they could almost make that a read. And teams use that now. They use that in the RPO game, the fake toss play, and they use that as a read play to where you have a toss read. And then behind that, the quarterback will have a quarterback counter read or sometimes a quarterback zone read. And right here, they've added that to the game. Power read toss. Both of those in my playbook, guaranteed, no doubt about it. You guys know the way I like to play. And, with Rich Rod's offense being on the game, I'll probably use the West Virginia offense as my base and build out from there. You've seen teams like Kansas State and Jacksonville State burn defenses with these. Now you can do the same. And as they talk about Jacksonville State right there, that's a shout out to Rich Rod. So, right on cue. Of course, that's what made me think of it as well. That's something that's going to be in the West Virginia playbook for sure. I'm going to see probably all three of those plays they mentioned there, the jet power read toss, and the counter bash. And new motion types. I'm going to eat these up too. You guys know I love the motion plays last year, especially when you utilized that jet sweep motion last year because everyone would, run the hell out of that jet touch pass. So instead of running the hell out of that jet touch pass, I like to use that as a decoy and ran a ton of plays off that motion. And now not only do they have that, they have all kinds of orbit motions, reload motions, bounce motions, escort motions, boomerang motions, and double motions, which we've talked about in the past on the channel, which will help you layer deceptions and keep defenses guessing. These match the complexity of motion-heavy offenses like Kansas, Alabama, and James Madison and offer new creative freedom when dialing up plays. They're going to talk about double motion plays here, but also one thing that I have heard, and I'll hit on here, they might hit on this themselves, but that now when those motions are going on defense, used to be once you hit one of those motions, the play was taken off. You couldn't do anything. You can audible while those motions are taking place now on defense. Double motion plays, these are sick, guys. For the first time ever, you can move multiple players pre-snap. That means you can mimic the chess match seen in real film from programs like Georgia Tech and Penn State. Whether it's sequential motions or dual motions at once, you can now shape shifts in formation to stress the defense before the snap even happens. And they have this built in some plays where they'll have multiple of the blue motions, that are built in. Some of those even have shift plays that are built in, but also you can do double motions yourself now as well. Expanded QB run and RPO variety. Let's go. You guys know that have watched my gameplay videos. Big time quarterback run guy, big time, like I said, Rich Rod style offense, because that's when I first fell in love with college football was the Pat White, Steve Slayton days. So having Rich Rod back at WVU for this game is music to my ears with some of the stuff they've added to the playbook, it sounds like. Let's talk about it here. Quarterbacks are the centerpiece of modern offenses, and they're evolved more than ever. From old school veer reads and modern pop passes to sprint out options and design QB powers, your signal caller now has the full menu. Notre Dame, Utah, and dozens of other teams now feature playbooks where the quarterback truly runs the show, literally. Smarter option routes. We've overhauled route logic and schemes like the run and shoot and veer and shoot. Receivers now read leverage, identify cap defenders, and react to middle of field safety structure. That means better decision making for user QBs and more realism on every throw. This new logic also fuels option routes across concepts like halfback choice, house wide juke, and slot option, which that's music to my ears as well, because I use a lot of, I'm heavy run team, but a lot of my pass plays I have are either RPOs or they're run and shoot plays where they have multiple options for the receivers on the routes. And sometimes they didn't really read those properly in 25. Glad to hear they've improved those mechanics to where the receivers now read the leverage and identify cap defenders, react to middle of the field safety structure as well. That's big. Gadget packages by formation. College football always has that guy, the do-it-all athlete who lines up everywhere. With our new gadget depth chart slot, you can now sub that player into specialized packages across multiple formations. Whether he's taking a snap at Wildcat quarterback or motioning from slot to tailback, he's now a true chess piece. Man, where was this when Tavon Austin was on the game at West Virginia, right? That's when I could have used this. But now I can use, Jaheim White there, you know what I'm saying? Which I saw a leaked list that he's in the top 100 fastest players in the game, 94 speed, more like it. They had him too slow on 25. But the gadget player is going to be fun on 26, guys, that's now a position you can, give somebody, you can signify them to be your Wildcat QB, probably your slot guy that takes your jet sweeps, in motions into the backfield on your option plays. It's going to be fun. Signature looks from the real 2024 season. We've gone beyond just new plays. They've added authentic packages and bizarre formations that defined Saturdays last fall and made them playable in College Football 26. Here are a few highlights. Penn State shotgun gate. Stretch the edge, freeze linebackers, and create backside cutback lanes. It's misdirection in motion. It mirrors how Penn State Oh man, today, Junior, I couldn't get that one out. How Penn State weaponized horizontal flow all season long. Which that's what you gotta like about Penn State's offense is all the crazy stuff they do. With this, you're going to see linemen lined up out wide in that Penn State playbook. I'm telling you guys, you're going to see Penn State played with a lot on college football on the road to college football playoff because of their playbook and because they have two really good running backs as well. Penn State swing gate variants. Yes, it's finally here. Run screens, jet touch passes, or misdirection fakes from the same funky gate look. This set even includes dual QB packages, wildcat looks, and offensive lineman slot alignments, as I was talking about there. They'll send that offensive lineman back to, crack back block to lead block there in motion. And you can guarantee some of those Penn State formations are going to be in my playbook there. Ole Miss wildcat dual wing. Snap it directly to your defensive tackle? Absolutely. The Rebels did it over 20 times last season, and now you can too. Power halfback, gadget, or tight end can also sub in to keep defenders guessing. That's cool formation as well. That'll be something you can use goal line short yardage, right? I like that. A lot of these are going to be in my playbook at least starting out, and if I like them or not and how they work for me, because, that's one thing that I did last year when they did the playbook updates, which they did, 2 or 3 of those, and I had some really fun stuff. Add them, see if I like them. If I don't, take them back out. Rice pistol wingback. The option lives in Houston. This formation group blends flexbone motion with pistol spread tempo. It includes 11 total wingback sets, a dream for users who love mixing triple option with quick game. That's awesome, because I thought the pistol, kind of triple option pistol formations in 25 were really lacking from what they used to be on 14, so that they've added more of those because of how Rice utilizes them in their offense. That's cool as well. The Western Kentucky Power Eye Hook, big boy football. So as they said, it's not just spread stuff and everything they've added here. They're trying to add everything that they see, even teams that utilize more under center stuff like this. Big boy football, 2 defensive linemen lead blocking. Fullbacks leaking on play action. If you want to go downhill, this set rewards you with short yardage dominance and surprise deep shots. Another short yardage formation there. ECU trips off. I'm sorry. Let's start that over. Rewind the tape. ECU trips off over weak, an unbalanced formation with layers. Use the off-ball tight end as a motion blocker or RPO threat. Teams like ECU and Kansas ran it very differently, and you'll feel their styles reflected in each team's playbook. So they may have the same formation, but ECU is going to play it differently than Kansas plays it. So that's one thing that you get as an added bonus. When you get the coaches on the game, not only do we get the coaches, now they do a bit better job with the tendencies because, hey, they're like, hey, we're reflecting the real life coaches now. Duke wide, Y off trip stack. A new evolution of the veer and shoot built off 11 new wide formations, including stack looks that stretch defenses sideline to sideline while delivering vertical options and quick RPOs underneath, used heavily by Duke. This group gives you horizontal stress with vertical teeth, and I loved the wide formations last year. There was 2 or 3 of them that I ended up keeping in my playbook and had some really good run plays out of, particularly the Buck sweep out of one of them was one of my favorite run plays on the game. So more wide formations in the game does not upset me at all. And these aren't just new plays. They're a living, breathing tribute to everything that makes college football so electric. Innovation, identity, and the pure joy of doing something a little wild just to see if it worked. Your team plays like your team in college football 26. Precision, vision, and strategy. Quarterback play. Field vision. Height finally matters. I know when you hear field vision, if you thought like me, I was like, that better not be that QB cone shit from Madden 06. It's not. But what they are trying to do here is make it to where, height actually matters. Passing windows actually matter more in the game. Just add more difficulty, more realism. And I like that. And this is something they hit on there in the trailer a little bit when they talked about there was a shorter quarterback, which we know Boston College has, Coach Solanios, I think that's his name. He's a little bit shorter quarterback. So, he was behind the right guard and right tackle here. The tight end was running a slant route, I believe it was, or a dig, one of the two. And so he's sitting behind these linemen trying to hit him because he's coming from under center and he couldn't see him. So his icon disappeared. So that's how that's going to affect here. I think that's a little bit what they're going to talk about. In the quest to make pocket passers as valuable as they are in real life, they've introduced real world challenges to level the playing field. This is where field vision comes into play. And funny enough, they hit on the same thing I did. No, there's no vision code on the field with a smiley face. They know that that's what everyone was thinking probably when they read that. Through conversations with coordinators across the country, one theme kept coming up: the importance of moving the quarterback's launch point and how interior pressure can impair vision. They took that to heart. Field vision accounts for your quarterback's height, the size of offensive and defensive linemen, and their proximity to the pocket. Smaller quarterbacks under center, especially on quick drops or throws between the numbers, will experience realistic visibility limitations. That's why many real-life QBs favor shotgun or pistol looks in college football In college football 26, when shorter quarterbacks are surrounded by taller linemen, receiver icons may fade to reflect obstructed sight lines. You can still attempt to throw those, but expect an accuracy penalty, mirroring the real-world challenges these players face. And we saw that in the trailer. The throw went wide. Enhanced QB progression system. Recognizing that lower rated quarterbacks were previously more successful than we would like, they've expanded the gap between elite and lower tier quarterbacks to mirror real life disparities more accurately. High awareness quarterbacks will quickly and efficiently cycle through multiple options, reflecting decisive reads and rapid decision making of elite signal callers. Conversely, lower rated quarterbacks struggle significantly, realistically managing fewer progressions and demonstrating slower decision making, closely resembling the performance of an inexperienced true freshman or developing quarterback seen on Saturdays. So that's going to be interesting. If you're someone that starts off your dynasties at a one-star school and you maybe have a quarterback that's young or not that high rated, you want to keep your passing offense maybe to, just a couple of reads for him, because you try and take time and wait longer in the pocket. It's not going to work out for those quarterbacks as well as it will for the more experienced ones. Interesting. Recognize the heat. Last year, we saw a heavy reliance on double mug and cover zero blitzes to overwhelm AI quarterbacks, making this a critical area for improvement. In college football 26, they've introduced an upgraded hot read system and made significant enhancements to quarterback progression logic, double move recognition, and overall blitz response. Awesome. So, last year's meta obviously was a lot of cover zero, edge blitz zero, the double mug blitz there. What's it called out of that one? I can't remember what the name of it is. Middle blitz zero, maybe mid blitz zero, I think, out of that formation there. Both of those were used a lot. And like I said, it overwhelmed the offensive linemen and led to a lot of sacks. So to combat that, I'm sure they've done some things with blocking, but they've also done some things to where you can manage it yourself with a new hot read system, because, that's how it works in real life. You see a blitz coming, you say, where's it coming from? Okay, that guy right there, that's my hot read. That's going to get it out quick if I have to get it out quick. Quarterbacks with higher awareness now identify multiple hot read options immediately after the snap, mirroring how elite QBs diagnose and counter aggressive pressure in real life. These upgrades reduce the once dominant effectiveness of double A gap blitzes and create more balanced strategic gameplay. The result, a season where quarterback matchups feel smarter, more dynamic, and as exciting as you see every Saturday. College Football 26's advanced quarterback AI delivers a new level of authenticity under pressure. And then defense wins championships, which I know we're all excited about the defense upgrades. As hard as it was to tackle last year, to have pursuit angles, this is big. Last year's gameplay was explosive and wide open, just the way college football should feel. That freedom and responsiveness on offense is something they're committed to maintaining. This features above focused largely on enhancing the offensive experience, speed, creativity, and big plays. But you also told us defenses needed more depth, presence, and options. So this year, they've doubled down on defensive control and responsiveness, giving you more tools to disrupt and dictate the game. Championships now won in the trenches, so let's take a look at what's new on defense. Talking physics, boys. Let's do it. You're changing tackling from last year? Yes. Trust your boy and stay with me now. Improving and polishing the innovative technology we first introduced in EA Sports Madden 25 was essential to delivering the authentic, organic football experience college football deserves. Take a swig of my water here, guys, real quick. All right. They took a hard look at what shipped in college football 25. While it was solid, it didn't quite capture the visceral impact, variety, or player differentiation. I don't know why I can't say that word. That real football demands. So in college football 26, we've elevated physics-based tackling to bring more control, more realism, and more satisfying outcomes to every hit. Now tacklers with better ratings won't just win more often, they'll win more distinctively. We've layered in timing-based elements that allow stronger defenders to finish plays with authority while making weaker tacklers more vulnerable to being dragged or broken through. You'll see more variety in tackle outcomes, glancing blows, squared up stops, forward falling momentum, all driven by weight, speed, angle, and user input. All good things. Even with the visual fidelity physics-based tackling brings, this wasn't just about looks, it was about feeling. And with College Football 26, you'll now feel every hit, fight through every finish, and experience a tackling system that rewards skill, ratings, and real football logic. The new tackle types: wrap catch tickles. Wrap catch tickles. They're going to tickle them out on the field. No, wrap catch tackles. DBs who aren't heavy hitters have the ability to wrap receivers up securely at the catch point. This provides a more realistic and strategic way to neutralize threats without needing to deliver a big hit. And then in-range lunge content. Thank you, because I thought last year, anytime you tried to dive for a guy that had broke off, it wasn't happening. Lunging tackles no longer always force defenders to leave their feet. Players can now make controlled lunges while staying upright. Thank you. Adding another layer of realism to open field tackles and increasing defensive responsiveness. Unprepped hit sticks. We've added explosive hit stick animations to capture those thrilling real-life moments when the ball carrier is caught off guard. These tackles deliver impactful moments that can shift momentum in crucial situations and significantly influence wear and tear, increasing the strategic depth of managing player durability throughout the game. And then skill mechanics enhancements, timing and aiming on all one-on-one tackle types. That's what you saw in the trailer that was popping up on the tackles. This is what they're talking about: timing and aiming. And you're going to see a graphic anytime it's you one-on-one with another guy in the open field. The timing and aiming mechanic from last year's hit stick tackles has been expanded to every one-on-one tackle scenario, including strips, cuts, lunges, wraps, SWAT catch tackles, and wrap catch tackles. So all of those right there are now added to the timing and aiming mechanics. So even if you're going for the strip, not just hit sticks, all of these are now timing and aiming based. By putting control directly into your hands, your skill as a player can significantly influence broken tackle outcomes, knockout strips, or forced fumbles. And then truck and stiff arm skill mechanics. Offensively, we've integrated similar timing and aiming mechanics into trucking and stiff arm moves. So cool. Not only on defense do you have that, you have it on offense now with the physics system. You have to time up your stiff arms right. You have to be at the right angle, and same goes for trucking. Ball carriers can now control their moves to increase the success rate of trucks and precisely time stiff arms to fend off defenders effectively. Core tackling improvements. This year's core tackling improvements go beyond just adding animations. It's about capturing the emotional core of college football. Whether it's a critical third down stop, a game-altering sack, or a tone-setting hit early in the game, these improvements are designed to recreate chaos, energy, and momentum swings you see every Saturday. They wanted defenses to feel dynamic and capable, just like offenses did last year, and that started with building out core tackling in a way that looks better, feels better, and plays more responsively. Hit stick catch tackles. We've seen seamlessly integrated hit stick tackles into our physics-based tackling system, enhancing the realism and responsiveness of big hit moments. So now, you can't get the pick. Hey, go for a hit stick on the guy catching. If you time it up right, hey, there you go. Jar the ball loose, time it up wrong, get a pass interference penalty. The quarterback hit improvements. Significant improvements have been made to preserve realistic arm position during sack transitions. We've minimized unnatural snapping of the quarterback's arm into place during sacks, resulting in smoother and more believable quarterback reactions. And then late hit throws. We've also heard you loud and clear when it comes to last-second bailouts in the pocket. Those frustrating moments when quarterbacks could escape sacks with unrealistic throws just before being hit. Ensuring throws are more realistically aimed near receivers, increasing both catch opportunities and interception risks. Additionally, very late throw attempts with defenders closing in will more frequently result in sacks, rewarding good pass rushes and emphasizing realistic consequences for delayed QB decisions. And then physics-based tackle contact accuracy. They've significantly reduced instances where tackles didn't fully contact the ball carrier, but triggered tackle reactions. Tackles now consistently connect realistically, preserving immersion. So no more of those glitches there in the tackling animations. Momentum preservation after contact. Greatly reduced unrealistic branching and abrupt direction changing post-contact. Ball carriers now maintain realistic momentum, resulting in more natural and believable outcomes after tackles. So, last year, sometimes you'd be blasted back on the first hit, right? But your guy wouldn't go down. Somebody else would come in and hit you. And instead of you falling back, if you hit your right stick forward like you were trucking, sometimes you'd fall forward 2 or 3 yards. Now that's not going to happen with the new physics-based system. That's what they're talking about here with the ball carriers following their natural momentum, the way that they're following, the way they're being hit on the play, all going to be more realistic, as well as realistic post-tackle movements. Branching into movement immediately after physics-based tackles has been dramatically improved, ensuring impactful collisions are visibly disruptive and realistic, enhancing overall gameplay authenticity. One of Scott's favorite things about this feature is the improved consistency in results regarding wear and tear, which they'll dive deeper later in the blog, along with the outstanding audio feedback accompanying every big hit, which really stood out to me in the trailer. I talked about that, and that makes each collision feel that much more visceral and impactful. Yeah, I love the new sound effects there. Shout out to the Foley artist or whatever, right? I don't know if they use those on games. I know it's on movies, but little behind the scenes humor there, right? Stunts and twists are here. And here's a picture here, another picture for us, showcasing that you can call a stunt when you call a play, which we talked about this. When you pick a play, like say here they're picking Tampa 2. So they're hitting the X button here on the Xbox. Of course, it would be the square button on your PlayStation. But when you pick it, instead of just tapping it, you can hold the button in. And when you hold the button in, you get these adjustments that you can pull up here on the play to make already have the stunts called when you call the play, but I'm sure you can also do them pre-snap as well if you'd like. And for years, players have asked more depth, authenticity, and controls in the pass game. And in College Football 26, it's finally here. Stunts and twists are now fully in the game. Whether you're dialing up a TE stunt, which is tackle in stunt, an interior twist, or something more exotic, you're no longer limited to basic 4-man rushes. Now you can disrupt protection schemes, create confusion in blocking assignments, and pressure the quarterback like never before. And this is how it works. Calling stunts is simple and intuitive. At the play call screen, hold the button on any play to open the sub menu, which allows for available twists and stunts that are available for that play call. Custom tailor your pressure even before you break the huddle, or you can also call it in the pre-play menu by using D-pad left, then R1 or RB to access available stunt options on your current play. There are 12 unique stunt types available, each designed to replicate real-life tactics that are used by some of the top defensive coordinators. Not just cosmetic, they change things, angles, and matchup logic at the line of scrimmage. And here's why it matters, because stunts and twists completely redefine how you attack protection. You're no longer relying solely on individual wins from your front four. It's not necessarily mano a mano right now, right? Now you're running designed pressure to force O-lineman communication areas, set up mismatches and late looping rushers, disrupt rhythm and pocket integrity, and bring true strategy to the trenches. It's a feature the community has wanted for years, and College Football 26 finally delivers. Pass rush chess, not checkers, baby. And now let's talk a little trench work. In college football, the game is won at the line of scrimmage. In College Football 26, that battle just got a whole lot more real. They've rebuilt the core of offensive and defensive line interactions with one goal in line: make the trenches feel like the trenches. That means leverage matters, size matters, technique, play calls, and matchups matter. Every snap is a puzzle between blockers and defenders. And this year you have more control, realism, and strategy. Block steering. This is pretty sweet. Take control of leverage. So new to College Football 26, block steering is a foundational trench feature that gives both users and AI the ability to physically influence the direction of a block once engagement starts. Just like you'd see from the best D linemen who don't need finesse moves to wreck a game, block steering captures a subtle war of leverage and momentum. Sometimes it's not about winning clean. It's about squeezing the gap, clogging the lane, and turning a 6-yard run into a stalemate at the line. And here's how it works. Once you're engaged with the opposing lineman, press RT and then move the left stick to begin steering. So got right trick, you got right trick. You got right trigger, and then you're utilizing the left stick there to steer the block in whatever direction you want. You can steer an interaction in any direction based on player strength and weight ratings, like block shedding, run block, and impact blocking, and most importantly, momentum. All those play a factor here. It works for both sides of the ball, whether you're a nose tackle trying to dent the A-gap or a pulling guard trying to drive a defender out of the way. So you can control the pulling guard on offense now. That's interesting. There are 700 plus new animations in the system alone. Every push, turn, and battle looks and feels different depending on who's involved. Which all those animations, of course, credit to the physics-based system again. Gap integrity reborn. This also unlocks smarter play from the AI alignment. Defensive players will now maintain their assigned gaps based on play call and alignment, significantly limited crashing and stunning blindly. Gap integrity matters in today's game, and it finally matters in CFB 26. And now we have smarter blocking mechanics. Another golf clap moment. I know a lot of people had issues with the blocking last year. At times I did as well. This year's blocking logic has been re-engineered from the ground up. Huge news. And that includes both run and pass protections, which feature an improved targeting system. They've improved the targeting system across all core blocking schemes. That means blockers now understand who they're supposed to hit and how they're supposed to hit them based on the structure of the play. Schemes that now block with drastically improved clarity and accuracy include power, counter, trap, wham, duo, all the veer variants, and the midline concepts. Thank you, because I loved midline option in NCAA Football 14, and you couldn't even run it on College Football 25. So that's big. This new logic reduces freelancing and missed assignments while magnifying the mismatches. If you've got a pulling guard squaring up against a lighter safety, it's a dub. If your center is climbing to a 250-pound linebacker with poor leverage, you might be in trouble. Impact blocks and collision wins. The core engagement system has also been overhauled to better reflect outcomes based on weight class, ratings, and momentum differential. It's not about being targeted, it's about how you arrive. Pass protection, read, slide, react. We focused heavily on giving users more clarity, control, and responsiveness in the pass protection phase. Highlights include smarter targeting selection. Your offensive line will now make more intuitive decisions on who to block and when to block them based on immediate threats and overloads, and then untargeting defenders, which this is really cool. This will help with, guys on last year that would, take a player and, strategy everyone kind of used, right? You put them up on the defensive line and that pops up kind of the blocking assignment there. You see the dots pop up above their head. They know that their offensive line is probably going to try and engage them. And then you could bail that player at the line of scrimmage and it would just screw up the entire, offensive line's blocking mechanics, which, the way that they've revamped the blocking to react to some of those cover zero blitzes, which also exploited that, is one way they'll combat that. But now you can also do something to help that yourself with this new feature, untargeting defenders. You now have the ability to unassign a target. So you see a free defender you want to leave unblocked for a screen. You can now intentionally avoid targeting certain players. This gives advanced users the level of control they've been asking for. So you got some guys coming on a blitz. You can see who your offensive line's targeting. You can see who that's going to leave unblocked, which rather than block someone else, untarget the defender they're currently on, they'll block someone else. And then like to say, if you got a screen set up and it looks like it's not going to be set up correctly, unassign someone. All that's pretty sweet for untargeting defenders, which probably could also help you on read plays. Simplified slide protection. Slide mechanics are now easier and more intuitive. Want to slide left? Just tap slide left plus right stick left. Want a full slide? Double flick the right stick. The system responds cleanly and consistently, giving you time to focus on reads, not guesswork. Playmaker flip for protection. You can now flip your pass protection the same way you flip a play pre-snap, just like in real football. Quick flips now account for backside blitzers and rotating coverages, allowing users to adjust protection schemes on the fly, which that's awesome. And now where they also have field corner and boundary corner, I'm sure those are going to flip if you flip. Where you have Sam and Will linebackers, those are going to flip when you flip now. That's awesome. And built for matchups. Modern college football is about creating mismatches. And this year, that dynamic shines brighter than ever in the trenches. With enhanced logic around engaged wins/losses, dynamic double teams, and block disengage decisions, linemen now make decisions based on ratings, angle, play concept, and leverage, not just who's near them. You'll feel the difference when your All-American left tackle stonewalls a bull rush or when your undersized D lineman gets washed out by a down block. The trench battle is now a living, breathing part of every play and not just an animation happening beneath the surface. Let's talk about what it all means as I spill my coffee on myself there, unfortunately. More mad that I spilt it on my shirt than I am that I spilt it in general. The trenches in college football 26 aren't just cosmetic, they're gameplay altering. Every offensive scheme starts with how your line functions. Every defensive strategy depends on how your front line holds up. And now, with block steering, smarter protection logic, and authentic scheme targeting, you can win the game up front just like in college football. Whether you're calling counter with a pulling guard or trying to two gap out of a 4-2-5, everything in the trenches just got more real, more dynamic, and more fun. And then custom zones, which we know these are going to combat custom stems. You can now adjust the depth of your zones, where you're putting those, right? So now you can fine tune your defensive zones just like you did with route stems, allowing you to strategically counter and neutralize any offense. With custom zones, you have the ability to fine tune individual zone drop depth on the fly. This is how it works. They select the zone defender you want to adjust by pressing A or X, and then tap L1 to bring up the zone depth adjustment. From there, you can move the defender's zone drop up or back to fit exactly what the defense is throwing at you. This on-the-fly upgrade puts more control in your hands, whether you're trying to match verticals more effectively, clog up intermediate windows, or bait quarterbacks into making bad decisions. Custom zones gives you the flexibility to fine-tune your coverage and adapt on the fly. This gives you quicker, more precise control over your defensive adjustments, allowing you to get to the exact look you want without cycling through coaching adjustments or pre-play menus. It's a feature that's been highly discussed within the community and now in your hands. And then clamped. We made it a priority to take defensive playback in college football 26 because they want it to be even closer to the action you watch on Saturday. So smarter coverage reactions, more meaningful leverage battles, deeper risk versus rewards mechanics, and the excitement and challenges of authentic one-on-one matchups. Route commit. This is really cool as well. Custom zones I like, and I think that's nice to combat custom stems. I don't know how much I'll use custom zones, but I guarantee I'll probably use route commit, which will be something you use in man coverage. And when will you use it? When you have a guy that keeps running the same play or running the same route over and over, and you finally recognize it, and you're in man coverage, and you say, he's been thrown to this route this time on this play, and so I'm going to take my guy, I'm going to route commit, I'm going to jump in and get a pick six, and hopefully you call it correctly and he doesn't trick you and then all of a sudden run a different route out of that play, because then it's probably a tutty. But route commit is a cool new feature. Let's talk about it. Scott says he played Travis Hunter at last year's media event playing college football 25, shaded inside on him pre-snap and got beat. He turned to me and said, I know it's a low chance to get beat with the shade, but I'm selling out here. That moment stuck with us. Shading is about positioning. Selling out is about commitment. And that mindset helped inspire what became route commit. One of the biggest new additions to coverage gameplay this year, route commit, lets an individual or your entire secondary aggressively jump routes based on your read of the offense. In pre-play, press R1, then left or right on the stick, and your entire coverage unit will aggressively break towards either inside or outside breaking routes. So you can do this with your full unit, which is pretty cool. And you guess right, locked down or strapped, as the kids say, your defenders will jump the cut faster, stay tighter through breaks, and guess passing windows shut. Guess wrong, it's costly. Defenders will react slower, take exaggerated false steps, and give up separation that turns short gains into explosive plays. Route commit adds a new layer of defensive strategy. Now you're not just covering, you're declaring intent, like run or pass commit, but for coverage. You're telling your opponent, I know what's coming, and I'm selling out to stop it. It rewards film study, disguises, and guts. And when you guess right, no better feeling on defense. With route commit leading the charge, we knew man coverage needed to feel tighter, more authentic, and more rewarding for players who pride themselves in shutting down the perimeter. This year, the man-to-man game is much more varied. Elite corners like Leonard Moore will mirror receivers closely, breaking with quicker timing that feels earned, not scripted. Facing top-tier receivers like Jeremiah Smith or Ryan Williams, you'll still feel pressure, but the battle is fair. Winning means your leverage, timing, and positioning were all perfect. Losing means the receiver earned every inch of that separation. This improvement in man coverage means you can confidently call man, you can shade inside, you can use route commit, and you feel like you're playing real football and not just rolling the dice. And then the leverage game, they've completely reworked leverage and how it affects route outcomes. Now when you align inside or outside shade, it directly impacts your defender's ability to cover. If you hold inside leverage and the receiver runs a dig, you'll stay tight and compete aggressively. Lose leverage, you're still in the play, but you'll feel the urgency to close the gap, probably having to come from behind and make a tackle before it turns into a big play. Previously, DB sometimes gave up unrealistic separation. That's gone. Positioning now feels powerful, rewarding pre-snap reads, strategic alignments, and adding depth to your matchups. Every snap is more tactical, every coverage call more intentional. This is how real college defenses thrive. Assignment-driven football, where angles and positioning rule the day. And then shade with purpose. Shading coverage matters more than ever, pairing directly with route commit and leverage to create a complete defensive toolkit. Shade over the top, you'll gain cushion to protect deep, but you'll also see sharper cuts separated underneath. Shade underneath, you'll clamp down hard on short routes, but risk being burned vertically by double moves. Every pre-snap shade now carries weight, setting a tone before the ball is even snapped. For players who study film and dial in on tendencies, this could be a game changer. And this one's huge. I talked about this in one of the last games I streamed, actually, because I had a pick where a guy wasn't even looking and just grabbed it. No eyes, no picks. Last year, some of the full speed contested over the shoulder interceptions felt a little too much, like defenders were turning into center fielders. I started calling them the Willie Mays interceptions. This year, we improved that. If a DB doesn't have his eyes at the ball, he won't make those unrealistic blind leaps anymore. No more backward acrobatic picks without vision. Instead, defenders react late, fighting through the receiver's hands, trying to knock the ball loose rather than warping into perfect catch animations. It's all about context now. When a DB is in trail position, hips turn and running at full speed, you should feel more inclined to take a shot deep. You no longer have to wait until your receiver is 3 steps clear from breaking the jam. How frustrating was that last year? You have a guy 2 steps ahead, you got him beat on a deep ball, you throw the deep ball, they catch up, and then they make that leaping interception that he's talking about. God, I hated that. The game now rewards smart, confident throws that recognize leverage. But when a DB tracks the ball properly, you'll see that rewarded. Interceptions feel earned, not gifted. It's a fair fight, an aspect they're seeking to improve. Playing the ball finally feels fair, rewarding, and true to real football. One-on-one matchups matter again. The passing game is back to feeling like a genuine competitive battle, just how it should be. And then swat or pick, choose wisely. Swatting the ball returns to prominence this year. Now you must decide, go for the highlight reel interception or make the fundamentally sound play and just go for the swat. Swats take defenders to the highest point, giving you a better chance to disrupt catches in tight window. Picks are still possible, but only if you're in phase, looking at the quarterback and perfectly positioned. Defensive decision-making just became more critical. Quarterbacks will find jump balls or true 50-50 throws again, not automatic turnovers. And then to the crib, we heard you loud and did I just say creel instead of clear? I think that's like dyslexia kicking in right there. But they said too many wide open interceptions fell incomplete last year. That wasn't right, especially after you made a perfect read and you had your defender exactly where it needed to be. This year, we've improved that dramatically. These no doubt INTs will stick. I had one of these happen in a recent game of mine. Jumped the route perfectly. Pick 6, just dropped it. DBs will now finish plays as they should. Every interception should feel deserved, whether you perfectly baited the quarterback, jumped a route, or made a perfectly timed break. Hey, defensive playbook updates as well. Sweet. In College Football 26, we've updated the defensive playbooks to better reflect strategic dynamics of the college game. This blog post explores not only the new playbook content, new formations and plays, but also highlights key foundational enhancements to defensive gameplay that improve how certain plays and schemes are executed. In this section, they're introducing several new formations and plays alongside improvements to pass coverage logic, defensive alignment, and run fit responsibilities, all designed to provide a more authentic and engaging defensive experience. So, new defensive formations added. This year's game features several new defensive formations tailored to modern college football's offenses. These new looks are designed to improve your defense's ability to adapt to spread, to create pressure, and better defend run and the pass. 3-4 tight is one of the new defensive formations. It's a variation of the 3-4 odd. This formation moves both defensive ends into the 4-eye technique, so there's your difference there, aligning them on the inside shoulder of the offensive tackles. This adjustment helps strengthen B-gap integrity and gives players a better structure to combat interior run plays. And then 3-3-5 flex features 3 down linemen and an edge defender standing in a 2-point stance to the strong side. This look uses 4-man spacing while retaining the versatility of 3 linebacker setup. It's well suited to defending spread offenses while maintaining pressure potential. I like 3-3-5 flex. I'm a 3-3-5 guy myself, usually on the game. Nickel single mug and nickel 2-4 single mug. These formations position a single linebacker directly over the center in a mug alignment, so it's not a double mug, but a single mug. This alignment forces the offensive line to account for every defender at the line of scrimmage and can trigger one-on-one blocking across the board. The 2-4 variant adds 2-point stance edge defenders for a more hybrid linebacker look. These are especially effective when paired with the new defensive line stunts available in the play call menu. Especially, you got 2 of your edge defenders in 2-point stance in the single mug formation. You got a stunt called. I like that. Nickel load and nickel 2-4 load. Load fronts align 3 defensive linemen to one side of the center, creating immediate pressure challenges for the offensive protections. Like the single mug sets, the 2-4 load formation features edge defenders in 2-point stances, reinforcing linebacker-heavy aesthetic and enhancing play calling flexibility. These formations work especially well with the new stunt-based plays, and I like these 2-4 variants because that helps combat, those spread offenses that they're talking about, get you more linebackers on the field, but still have the ability to have them there in the box on the line, but they can drop into coverage if you need. Returning formations. Several formations familiar to Madden players have also been added to College Football 26, expanding the playbook with more variety and situational versatility. So these will be new to me because I'm not a Madden guy. Nickel 2-4, nickel 2-4 double mug, and dime load week, formerly dime sugar week. Some new plays. Hey, let's hit on these. I like hearing about new plays if you guys can't tell, even if they're on defense. The team still created a number of plays with built-in stunt logic to provide ready-made options that pair naturally with the new formations introduced earlier. These plays were designed specifically to attack common offensive protection schemes and enhance pressure concepts from various fronts. Below is a sample of new plays that incorporate default defensive line stunts. Oh, so you don't even have to make the adjustment. These ones already have stunts built in. Linebacker DN twist 3 out of 2-4 load mug. DB blitz text 3 out of 2-4 single mug. DT Mike loop 3 out of 2-4 single mug. 1 linebacker cross games out of 2-4 load. DB blitz text 3 out of single mug. DT Mike loop 3 out of single mug. Linebacker DE twist 3 out of load mug. Linebacker cross games out of the load O. Linebacker 3 seam games out of load. Double wide receiver 1 out of load 1. So I guess that's an automatic double team play that's in the playbook. That's sweet. You don't have to make an adjustment. Wide receiver 1's killing us. Let's call double wide receiver 1. Linebacker cross games out of load 1. Mug blitz text 3 out of rush. Mug sim pressure out of rush. Mug DT loop 1 out of rush. Cornerback bench blitz out of 3-3-5 over flex. Linebacker 3 seam games out of 2-4 load. Linebacker cross games out of 2-4 load-o. I love that they've added this in here because some of us, maybe we'll be able to call them, while we call certain plays and add those stunts to them. But also something for those of us that aren't able to do it pre-play, or maybe our hands aren't quick enough, just go ahead and call a play with a stunt built in. And some of these plays will probably be pretty good plays on the game, I'd say. In addition to these pressure-based plays, this year's playbook includes new bracket coverage concepts designed to help defenses account for the offense's top receiving threats. Awesome. So you need to double a receiver. That's like that double wide receiver 1 play we're talking about. I'm sure that's going to have bracket coverage involved. You got a real speedy receiver. You want a bracket coverage, all those things. And those plays are now available in nickel over, nickel 2-4, and nickel 3-3 over. And they reflect improvements to the game's bracket logic system. The new bracket plays are one double the slot, 1 double the tight end. So you can bracket the slot, you can bracket the tight end, double bracket switch, and bracket switch Willie. Defensive guys get paid too. Each of these coverages is built to provide layered support against key receivers, using a safety to play the outer half of the bracket while the underneath defender controls the inside leverage. These plays give users more control when scheming against specific personnel matchups, particularly in spread and tight end heavy formations. Enhanced run fit logic, playing real fast and sound. One of the most fundamental parts of any college football defense is run fit discipline, making sure you got all the gaps accounted for, right? And in College Football 26, they've overhauled how defenders align, trigger, and execute in the run game. Whether you're facing a downhill power team, a zone-based spread, or modern RPO-heavy attack, the new run fit system makes sure defenders show up where they're supposed to and do it with urgency. This year, run fits are more consistent and clearly defined, reducing the guessing game that often left players asking, wait, why is my linebacker outside? He's supposed to be filling this gap. Now I don't have anybody filling that gap. The gaps are now clearer, the assignments are cleaner, and the logic behind who fills where will now hold up from the first quarter through the fourth. Linebackers and safeties. In previous years, second level defenders sometimes played on the heels, waiting for the ball to declare catching blocks or holding back too long. That's no longer the case. Linebackers and safeties now fit more aggressively downhill, triggering earlier and attacking their assigned gap with the kind of physicality you expect in real college football. So if you got a run blitz called where you got, a safety or a linebacker filling a certain gap, they're going to fill that quick. They're going to come screaming downhill. You'll feel the difference when you shoot a B gap and stonewall a run before it hits the line. You'll see it when a safety keeps a run from a too high shell and knifes in to make a stop. This isn't about playing reckless. It's about playing with intent. So you got keys on that run. He's going to see it. He's going to come downhill. RPO integrity. RPOs are a huge part of the modern college game, and our defensive system is now structured to handle them with more built-in rules that mimic real defensive football. Golf clap for that one. I'm someone who uses them a lot on offense, but I can use help with combating them on the defensive side because other people use them a lot as well. Most run fits in 26 are designed to be RPO sound, meaning defenders have clearer jobs based on alignment and route action. A and B gap defenders are now coached to play the run first. C, D, and E defenders, corners, overhangs, and safeties, or which are aligned outside, read their key. If the receiver they're responsible for goes on a route, they play pass. If he blocks, they trigger into the run fit. This logic keeps the defense from overcommitting and opens the door for smarter, more football, faithful reactions against read peaks and tags. A smarter, sharper run defense. Defending the run has always been about assignment, aggression, and discipline. This year, they've taken major steps to bring all of these to life that's not just more authentic, but also more effective. Whether you're stacking the box to shut down a Heisman candidate running back or trying to survive a 12-play option drive, your defenders now have the tools, logic, and mindset to win their 1-on-11. This is what real defenders and real football looks like. Fast, sound, and built to hold up, no matter what the offense throws your way. And then you got to coach them up, guys. Coach settings coming into play more than ever this year. Safety adjustments. One of the most exciting additions to 26 is the new coach setting for safety adjustments, giving players full control of how their safeties align, both in depth, width, and position. This feature's all about pre-snap identity. Whether you're building a defense that plays downhill or that prioritizes keeping a lid on explosive plays, this system lets you coach with intention. I like that a lot. And I'm sure that now having the real coaches on the game, those are kind of going to be built in already to the real coordinators and coaches that are on the game as well. Around college football, there's tremendous variance in safety depth, and it's not just philosophy. Some teams bring their safeties closer to tighten up run fits. Some play them 30 yards back in deep zones to neutralize elite vertical threats. Excuse me. I said fertilize, I think. That spectrum of strategic flexibility now exists in game. This setting is available through the pre-game coach settings menu and can be layered in combination with defensive tools. There are 3 dimensions of control. The depth, here's the safety depth options you have now in your coaching adjustments. You have close, which will bring safeties into the box or near, great for run fits or tighter red zone looks. So, if somebody gets in the red zone, you can adjust your safety depth at that point. Or you can keep it, of course, default, which is your stock standard balance. You can align them deep, which aligns your safeties deeper than normal, ideal for defending the deep spread. And then you can align them even deeper than that in prevent, which is used in end of half/game situations to avoid giving up the big one. So now, you can call essentially whatever plays you want. You can call your cover 2, cover 3, cover 1 man, cover 2 man at the end of the game and not necessarily have to go to prevent formation, and you can just put your safeties on, prevent alignment in the coaching adjustment and be essentially in a prevent defense with a normal play call. Safety width, default, natural alignment relative to formation, spread. Position safeties wider than usual, useful against sideline threats, and then wide further exaggerates outside leverage to protect against deep out routes or verticals. And also that wide safety setting would probably help against some of those wide offensive formations as well. And then pinch, bring safeties tighter to the middle. Midpoint shift is another adjustment. This is all about repositioning your safeties off the defensive midpoint. So left/right adjust based on the field alignment. So where is the ball on the field? And that's how the safeties would align in a left-right alignment. Strong/weak, they shift according to the offensive strength to the tight end side, or field/boundary adjust relative to the field up to the wide/narrow side of the field, which field boundary is probably kind of how I like to do mine, probably. You can combine all 3 layers of control to match the exact identity you're trying to build. Yet another thing that goes into me talking about this being one of the most customizable football games ever. Once your safety's close and pinched against the downhill run team, but shifted to weak to bait play action, you can do that. Need to get them deep and spread against a vertical air raid look, you're covered. This is the type of setting that may fly under the radar at first glance, but for players who love the game and building a real identity on defense, it's a game changer. And it's one of our favorite additions this year. Just another example of how 26 can use to push toward authentic football and full control from top to bottom. And then new RPO coaching adjustment as well. That's big. So here you are, control the rules. To take this a step further, College Football 26 introduces a new RPO-specific coaching adjustment, allowing you to fine-tune how your AI defenders handle zone read, peak, and traditional RPO concepts. If you want your overhangs to be more aggressive against the run, even if it means giving up a quick slant, you can dial that up. But if you prefer they sit back and protect against the pass first, that's an option too. It's about giving you the same philosophical control real coaches have on Saturdays and trusting you to use it. And now you can't complain about the game if you're getting burned on RPOs because you can control that yourself. As you can see, there's a lot more you can do now within the coaching adjustments menu. And finally, you can easily reset these adjustments back to the default settings with one click of the left stick. Show blitz. Linebackers only. In the past, choosing to show blitz meant your entire defense came crowding to the line. Safeties, corners, everyone. It looked aggressive, but it also gave everything away. And also didn't like it because it automatically pressed your corners, even if you didn't want to. You couldn't show blitz without pressing your corners. Now they have show blitz as linebackers only. That's awesome. In College Football 26, you can now show blitz with just your linebackers, giving you far more control over how your defense looks pre-snap. It's not just a gameplay improvement, it's real football. In actual defensive game plans, linebackers regularly step up to show pressure, then drop back into coverage or rotate into a different fit post-snap. This new control brings that same level of disguise to your defensive tools because it's a huge win. You can disguise coverage, you can influence the run fits, and you can fake pressure. The chess match at the line just got a nice upgrade. Real-time coaching 2.0. What's real-time coaching? Well, it's an awesome feature last year, and now it's its year 2 evolution. After layering the foundation last year, it takes a massive leap forward in 26, improving how CPU-controlled teams adjust and compete. Real-time coaching no longer just a feature. It's the engine behind smarter, more strategic, and more human-like coaching behavior on both sides of the ball. A huge part of this leap comes from major improvements to our internal tool set, which allowed us to implement over 3 times as many real-time adjustments as last year. Awesome. That's not just more logic. That's smarter, faster, and far more varied logic. Coaches now respond with a wider range of strategies, personality-driven behavior, and situational awareness, making every team feel more distinct and more dynamic. Delayed shifts, formations, IQ, and real adjustments. One of the more noticeable upgrades is the introduction of delayed shifts. Defensive coordinators will no longer show their hand immediately. You'll see safeties rotate late, defensive front shift post-audible to counter new threats. This simulates real-life defensive disguises, forcing users to read and react, not just make pre-snap guesses. Beyond disguise, defenses are now significantly smarter about formation, strength, and run type. Whether you're grinding power, trap, duo, or using pistol to stretch the edge, real-time coaching recognizes not just that you're running, but how you're running and from where you're running. More than last year, teams will adjust the number of count of players they have in the box, adjust their front alignment, and bring pressure based on those keys. For those leaning on dominant runner or targeting one side repeatedly, expect to see safeties creeping down, linebackers floating quicker, and front shifting to seal cutback lanes. This is no longer just defending the run. It's run recognition and response. So running to the same side of the field a lot, running to the strong side every time, running to the weak side every time. The CPU is now going to pick up on that. So I hate to say it, guys, but Heisman's going to be even more difficult this year for us, which I love personally. Passing defense, the 9-box, and concept tracking. New in College Football 26 is 9-box, a spatial back-end intelligence system that tracks where your passing and passing game is attacked. Using this, defensive AI now understands not just where they're throwing, but also what they're throwing. This fuels pass concept recognition, meaning CPU now knows if you're leaning on flood concepts, mesh concepts, smash, and will start dialing up counters to those concepts. This also powers a new layer in coach suggestions where concept counters are intelligently surfaced. If flood is killing a defense, look for a call that directly attacks the route combo, not just a generic zone shell. The goal, give players access to the same in-game adjustments a real coordinator would consider. Which means the next step in strategic football, still just year 2 of real-time coaching, but already it's reshaping how CPU opponents think and adapt and challenge the player. From delayed pre-snap shifts to formation-specific run fits, threat recognition, and targeted countermeasures, real-time coaching is evolving into the foundation of authentic, adaptive college football gameplay. And we get it. You're talented players. Will you find some ways to attack it? No doubt, but this is a major step forward. Year 2 marks a significant investment not only in sophistication, but in delivering the CPU experience that pushes back, adapts, and holds to the depth and skills of the users. It's about making every snap matter, whether you're playing a rival, grinding through Dynasty, or just testing yourself against the game. And it's only going to continue to grow. It's the little things. There's a visual change for switch stick. Pre-play movement from Madden 25 comes to college football, along with new enhancements. Pursuit has been tuned. Thank the Lord. You will still see players with low pursuit ratings unable to properly judge speed and take. So now there will be guys still taking bad angles, but those will be guys that have low pursuit ratings. It's more ratings based now, and they've improved that. So quarterbacks getting out of the fake earlier in play action. So they improved that for the CPU. In the passing game, they've extended the bullseye accuracy system from last year. In 26, you'll see a much wider range of slightly inaccurate and inaccurate passes. Expect to see a lot more bat down attempts from pass rushers. Linemen who gain leverage but can't reach the quarterback will actively try to knock the ball down, enhancing realism and defensive gameplay. And then double move improvements. Just as savvy offensive use double moves to exploit aggressive, all-out blitz schemes in critical game moments, College Football 26 now enables quarterbacks to execute these routes more effectively. This improvement mirrors real-world scenarios where offensive coordinators strategically capitalize on overly aggressive or inexperienced defenders. And now home field advantage. Louder, tougher, and more personal. We saw the viral clips, we heard the screams, and we felt the same energy right alongside you. Last year's launch of Home Field Advantage made an instant impact on gameplay and all over social media. We heard the feedback loud and clear and loved how they embraced the challenge of playing on the road, feeling the nerves when stepping into the toughest stadiums in the country. This year, we're turning that up a notch, because when you walk into a hostile environment or step into a rivalry game with your season in the balance, it's not just about volume, it's about survival. So same name, new energy. Now, of course, we have the low Stadium Pulse. Kept the name, brought up the intensity of the Stadium Pulse meter, but everything about Home Field Advantage has evolved. It hits harder, stretches deeper, feels more alive, and if you're walking into the wrong stadium at the wrong time, be prepared for an experience that can break your spirit and forge legends. Night games and rivalries. In 26, nighttime and rivalry modifiers add an extra edge to schools ranked among the toughest to play. Now when you're on the road under the lights, it's a different kind of chaos. Away quarterbacks will struggle managing the clock, just like we've seen visiting quarterbacks in the swamp lose their composure in crucial moments. Kicking becomes dramatically tougher, especially with the game on the line. And in rivalry matchups, expect more false starts, more broken communication, and more composure breakdowns as the crowd pushes every moment to the breaking point. That means places like LSU at night, the Swamp during Florida-Bama, or Autzen during a Civil War aren't just hard, they're hostile. And where you line up matters. Hot route disruptions can now come with added context and depth. They scale based on your receiver's distance from the quarterback. Thank you, because I was so sick of having a guy right beside me that couldn't hear me. Meaning wide receivers lined up furthest away are impacted the most by crowd noise. The deeper your route concept, the higher risk of miscommunication and confusion. Pre-snap adjustments feel situational, exactly as they do on Saturdays. You'll think twice before checking at the line, and you'll work harder to maintain composure. And they've added a new mechanic to give the away team a fighting chance. Momentum-based crowd silence. Now, when the visiting team pulls off a big play, specifically if you pick up a play that's longer than 20 yards, resulting in a first down, you'll temporarily quiet the stadium and pause home field advantage effects. It's your chance to silence the chaos, seize the momentum, and flip the game. So, hey, you get a big 20-plus yard gain, go no huddle. Utilize that thing. The kicking gauntlet. We didn't forget the kickers. This year, we've completely overhauled the pressure kicking experience in hostile environments, especially during night games and intense rivalry battles. When the crowd is at its peak, the accuracy meter becomes completely transparent. The ball fades out as your kicker lines up, and the power meter fills white, reducing your visual feedback. The result, kicking becomes a true pressure cooker moment where the difference between hero and villain comes down to your thumbs. Make it and you'll celebrate in stunned silence. Miss it and you'll never hear the end of it. Good luck, you're going to need it. So kicking in a pressure situation is going to suck. Swag out. Additionally, based on your interactions with myself on X, I asked about your favorite celebrations, and we've kept most of them alongside adding new celebrations and replacing some others. We're also introducing the ability to walk or jog around after an interception or touchdown, giving you more ways to swag out your big moments. That's awesome. I'm going to take a lap around the stadium. Back to the field you go. we made it, guys. You guys know these deep dives were long. I think that we went 2+ hours on this one already. Last year we hit some over 3 hours. The Dynasty one may hit us there, but we're done and we've reached the end of the deep dive. And of course we get some wrap ups there from Scott OG himself. I think I've read enough of it. I think we've got the gist. And what I'll probably do is do like I did last year and try and break this out. Oh, we're not quite at 2 hours yet. We're over an hour and a half. Not too shabby for a deep dive. Like I said, some of those last year went 3 hours. But what I'll try and do is probably break out pieces of this into pre-recorded videos on the channel here over the next couple of days as well, highlighting each kind of individual piece. That's what I did last year. Probably try and do that again this year if I can get around to it, and I should be able to. But what I can promise you is I will be back on the 23rd to hit that presentation Campus Huddle blog here in a live stream. And I'll be back on the 24th to hit the most important one of all, in my opinion, the Dynasty Deep Dive trailer and blog. So if you're not subscribed yet, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you can come in here, chat live, talk a little bit about the game, get these deep dive news, get all the news in the lead up to its release, and then get the gameplay content once it comes around if you're a fan of the college football video game. And whether you watch this live or you watch this after the fact, you can hit the thumbs up button. Help me out with that crazy YouTube algorithm. If you didn't get a chance to chat live, throw your thoughts in the comment section. Appreciate those interactions as well. But for those of you that are in here live and did share some questions or comments, I will catch up on those momentarily here before we wrap this one up. Just got to take a swig of water, and then I'll catch up on your comments, and we'll call it a stream for the gameplay deep dive breakdown. Needed that. Man, I forgot. Last year, the same thing happened. When reading through these deep dive blogs and doing these live streams, after every one, the rest of the evening, my throat was sore a little bit, but that's all good. We'll be back ready for the one on the 23rd. We'll be back in game shape for that one. Okay. Vincent Davis said, facts, I never run cover zero. I've been watching losers run cover zero mid blitz and break sack records for 10 plus years. Yeah. Glad to see finally able to combat that. It's a big adjustment they put into this one. Good to see you back in here, Vincent Davis, as well. Glad to see you. Hey, what's up, Buck, man? Good to see you as well, man. Good to see you as well. James Lucas said, I think Zach Alley's not in the game. I think so as well. I think West Virginia is one of the teams that only got Rich Rod in. I don't think we got our coordinators in because they weren't on the graphic. I mean, we could be surprised when it comes out, but there's a few teams that only got their head coaches in. I think West Virginia might be one of those this year, but that's okay. Gernard Williams says, I just care for Road to Glory. I'm sure that deep dive's coming probably the next week, coming Monday. What is it, Monday and Tuesday, right? What's today? Today's Friday, 21st, Saturday, 22nd, Sunday. So yeah, coming Monday's presentation, coming Tuesday's Dynasty. So either later that week, which could be, that Thursday or Friday would be Road to Glory, I would guess, or the next week. So we'll have that deep dive coming for you soon, Gernard, and we'll have a ton of updates for you on that as well. A lot of people love Road to Glory. I like it as well, but Dynasty's my favorite personally. I think I'll play Road to Glory more this year. I didn't like Road to Glory on 25. Sounds like it might be a little bit better from what we know thus far, but can't wait to get to the deep dive to learn more. And glad to see you in here, Gerard. Don't think I've seen you in here before, man. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. We'll talk some college football throughout this process. Buckman said 3-3-5 flex is essentially what I ran in college football 25. Yeah, I agree. 3-3-5 stack was one of my favorite formations. The 3-3-5 playbook is what I used. So yeah, I'm going to utilize some of those new 3-3-5 formations. And Buckman, you were absolutely right. I'm going to need to drink a lot of water after reading through that gameplay deep dive, which is good. It means they gave us a lot of updates, a lot of news. And like I said, I'll try and break out pieces of it in pre-recorded videos in the future, probably. That's the goal, and that's the plan. But like I said, I can promise you I'll be back to do this again on Monday and on Tuesday, and I'll keep you up to date on all the news in the lead up to college football 26 and have you a ton of fun gameplay content once the game releases. But that's what I had for this one, guys. I'm going to get off here. I'm going to go chug some water, go get some food in me. And like I said, look out for some pre-recorded videos coming on the channel before Monday, and be back with another live stream at least on Monday, if I'm not back before then, continuing the Coach JC Dynasty series, which we're trying to wrap up the final season of that here on the channel as well. But I'll definitely be back live with you within the next couple of days here. And Monday at the latest, maybe back before then, but pre-recorded videos will keep you there in the meantime. In between time, those will be coming out there as far as some more news updates. But that's what I got, guys. Appreciate everyone that chatted with me live. If you didn't get a chance to chat live, throw it in the comments section. Be back again soon. More College Football 26 news on the horizon. Presentations next, and then Dynasty. And both of those are coming in just a few short days. And we'll be back doing this again, breaking down the blog, sharing my thoughts, listening to some of your alls as we talk about the much anticipated College Football 26. Can't get here soon enough. Excited about it, guys. And I really appreciate you all tuning into this one. And I will catch y'all on the next one.